Hello. Today I'm going to do a video on the rear brakes of my 2016 Ram 1500. I've got the premium brake rotors from Durago. I also got the pads, they're the painted ones. So let's get these on and give them a shot, see how it goes. So these brakes are unique because the back actually has a drum built into the rotor, and that is how your e-brake works. So you can see right there, that spring is what compresses it and releases it. So what we want to do here is take off the bolts for the caliper. So right there, and then down there. And then we can access the slides, get the new pads on, grease the slides, and put new rotors on. So let's start with getting the caliper off. The caliper bolts are 21 millimeters. I'm also going to loosen the slide bolts while I have it on. The slide bolts are 10 millimeters. We've got the bolts off the back of the caliper now. Slide bolts are loosened, and now we have to get the caliper off. You want to make sure that you have it sitting on something so that you don't pull the ABS wires or the brake lines out from the caliper or from the body. These have a pretty good groove in them, so the pad doesn't want to quite move, so we'll have to give it a little bit of prying and a little bit of tapping. And there you have it. Really aren't that bad. So let's get the brake pads out, and we'll get the slides out, and we'll get those lubed. I can tell just by looking at it, you can tell with the light, the side on the left is worn down much more than the side on the right, so I'm going to guess that this slide right here probably isn't moving, and it's only pushing on that side, so we'll try to verify that here soon. Slides don't look bad, actually. Alright. So, inspect the pads. You can see we got a definite groove here. Inner ones are always more worn. And again, that side's definitely much more worn than that one. The plate's ready to come off the back. So it was time. It was time. So this portion's really stuck. These do not want to move, so I want to kind of loosen them up and just be careful not to break the boot. And you can get them, you can push them out that way. And yeah, this is bad. You can see it's white. This is sticky. This will require a good cleaning. And it looks like this side's the same. Very sticky. You can use a screwdriver and push it out the other end there. You guys be careful you don't tear the boot. Alright, let's get these cleaned up. Spray them down with some brake parts cleaner. Take a towel to them. Get them smooth. That's all there is to that. These are nice and clean. May run them over the bench grinder really quick, the wire wheel, just to make them extra smooth. So the next step, I'm going to actually compress the cylinder. There's two ways I've seen it done where you take a clamp and you'll actually squeeze the cylinder in and push the fluid back into the master cylinder. I've heard that can cause issues with the ABS sensor, so I break the bleeder valve open and then I use my hand and just push the cylinder in and it pushes out the fluid. And you just have to remember to add more fluid when you're done. This is an 11mm box end wrench. This was still a little bit tight at the very end, so I've got a small clamp on it. I'm going to break it loose. As you can see, the fluid's going flying. And that's it. And then we're going to come back and bleed these later. Alright, so we're tightened down again. Excellent. The pads I got are the Duragos, and they did not come with any hardware, so we have to reuse the stuff that we got here. So we're going to put some brake parts cleaner on this, and then we're going to use a wire brush and just get the rest of that junk out, grease them up and drop them on in. So when you're putting the pads in, these are nice. They actually have a nice track. So they'll drop in. This part right here with the part number is going to be facing out. So remember that when you put these on, so the concave will be in. Alright, one in. Two in. There we go. So we're going to line up the holes for the slides. So we want to make sure we lube up the slides again. High temperature grease. So that was quite an operation getting those on. Um, what I learned is there's that little metal tab right there, and you have to press on that to get it, to press it against the caliper, and then it will allow the free part of the caliper to drop down so that these screws and bolts will finally line up with the threads. So push down on this, and then if you have a way to do it using an impact, I could suggest something because it's one-handed. Push down, get your threads, and lock her down. So getting the rotor off isn't too bad. I actually took these off once before, and I made sure I put anti-seize in the back of them so they wouldn't stick, so I just have a real small dead blow mallet. So we're also going to be fighting with the brake, unfortunately, that's inside of it. So remember with the rotors, you want to spray off the bare metal, because when they're at the factory, they apply that, so if they sit for a year or two, they're not going to rust on the shelf. So give it 1 or 2 coats of brake parts cleaner, and don't forget to do the inside of this too, where the e-brake shoes are going to rest. I always grease up the hub here, so the next time I put brakes on, it's not going to stick. And there you have it. So what we're going to do now is we'll just crack that open. We'll have somebody push on the brake pedal to get all the fluid and the air out, and put the wheel back on, and we'll be good to go. So that's the basic down and dirty of how I did it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do the best I can to answer. Just make sure you follow all the manufacturer's recommendations. Make sure everything is torqued properly. All the parts are appropriate for the vehicle. Thanks for watching. Bye.